there, it's Hillary and welcome back for another Creative Faith video. This is the start of the May garden vlog. So I thought each month over the summer I would do a vlog kind of documenting the progress and what we've done on our garden. And so if you want to see my garden journal setup for the year, I'll have that linked in the description box below. I also have videos from last year. That was our 2023 was our first time ever having a garden, and it was such a great learning process. And so this year we are trying to make it bigger, better, and it's been a really interesting learning process, but so good for my husband and I to be outside working on projects like this together. So definitely go check out the April garden vlog and see how we kind of got everything set up. So today it is Saturday, May 4th, and my parents are coming over with a trailer from my dad's work. So we're gonna get dirt to fill the garden beds, and I'm hoping my mom and I can get some things planted into pots, and I'll show you kind of the seed update too from the last video clip from April. And I wanted to share a story. Start this off with a story about these pumpkin seeds. So last year, my friend Cindy gave me two pumpkin starts. One of them died pretty much immediately. The other one did produce a pumpkin. And then we had it on our front porch during the fall, and then I cooked the seeds and I cooked the pumpkin. I made pumpkin bread and the seeds were so good, but I had saved 10 seeds in hopes that I could use them this year. And so I planted them in the beginning of April in these, and they did nothing. And I was looking at little garden things online, and it said, you know, it takes 10 days to germinate, and it was like 14, you know, it was way longer than that. And so I went to my friend Chris's house, that's where we're going to be getting our garden starts. And she said, you did them too early. If they're outside, it's too cold and they're not going to grow. So that was on April 28th. She had shared that. So I just left them. I decided, okay, well, I'll just deal with that later because there's been a lot going on. So then on Monday, April 29th, my husband was like, Hillary, have you looked at the pumpkins? So I brought it in. After that Sunday when she said it was too cold out, I brought him inside, and my husband was like, Hillary, have you looked at the pumpkins on Monday? And I said, no. And he's like, come look at them. And there was one little tiny start poking through. And I was shocked because after her response of it was too early, it's too cold, and then now it's Saturday, May 4th, and look, so I planted 10 seeds and there's 8 little starts here. I can't believe it. And it was just a neat message of kind of hope and, you know, just God is doing things that we can't even see, and I think that's so neat. So anyways, I wanted to start off this video by sharing that sweet little story. And if you want to pick up a Hope Grows Here journal, it is a dot grid A5 journal, and so this is what I use for my garden journal. I used this last year, and I'm using it this year, and then I also made a garden binder too. So if you want to see that, I'll have that in a separate video where I set this up. So I'll have a link to this on Amazon in the description box below. And then I also made an Amazon ideas list in my storefront. So if you go to amazon.com/shop/creativefaithco, I have a whole garden supplies list there. So if you are wanting some garden supplies or want to see kind of some of the things that we've used, you can check that out. So let me go outside and show you the rest of the little starts that we have so you can see their progress at the start of May. And it'll be a really busy but wonderful day outside with my family. Here are the rest of the seeds. So these are the zinnias, which aren't looking super happy. Here are the sunflowers, which are doing well. And then these are the cosmos. And then, what are these? Oh, this is the bumblebee buffet. And then this one I can't even remember. Oh, I think these are the forget-me-nots. So it's kind of a rainy, gloomy day, but those are how the seeds are looking. And my mom picked up these for us that we need to put somewhere. And then these are the free plants we got. That's the walnut. And then these are 2 dogwoods. And they're starting to do something too, which is pretty exciting. First up on this rainy day was to go to our local nursery and get some dirt to fill the raised beds. It would have been $240 if we did this with bags, but it cost $40 to get a yard of the dirt. So we saved a lot of money by doing it that way, and it ended up being way better to do it on a rainy day versus the following weekend. It was in the 90s. So much better to get it done in the rain was my determination. And so we filled up the wheelbarrows. We have what?
We have filled raised beds with soil.
Took maybe a half hour.
Yep, that's bad.
So we're getting closer. We also filled the pots and then headed to Tractor Supply Company to get what we needed for the arches. So this was an idea that we saw many people share online, and we went with hog fencing for our arches. Beautiful. So we picked up 2 hog fence panels for the garden. The hog fence panels are 34 inches and the cattle ones are 50 some, so these will work better for our skinnier space. It made me pretty nervous going down the road with these in the back. The boys tied them down pretty good, but it was just so rainy and windy. But they made it home safe and sound. So thankful we could borrow my dad's truck and Layla. And then the boys were holding it up so we could kind of get an idea, but we didn't end up putting them up this day. We waited for a different day. Thankful for my parents for all their amazing help. End of May 4th, we got lavender and a lot of the flowers planted. These are the sunflowers, and the zinnias aren't very happy, but need to get those in the ground sometime. We got bark dust laid and both raised beds filled and ready for plants. We got a bucket over there filled with dirt. We got 2 hog fence panels for the arches. And more bark dust laid back here. So awesome progress. We also did bark dust in the front and trimmed down the daylilies and just got the front yard looking a lot more cleaned up as well. So that's really nice to make progress on making everything beautiful. Several days later, we started the next area, which was planting the sunflowers. So my husband cleared all the weeds away from this area along our fence. And I can't remember how many sunflowers we had. I think it might have been 10 or 12 or 14. And so I had started them from seed inside the house, and then we are now planting them into the ground. And I hadn't done really any research on this. But after we planted them, I learned that it's good to plant them away from your other garden supplies and veggies and plants and things, because they take a lot of nutrients from the soil and kind of dominate the gardening area. So we got all these planted, and I'm doing the voiceover in June, and it is crazy to see how big they've gotten, and I cannot wait to just have this whole wall of sunflowers, and it's been a really neat area and pretty simple compared to everything else we've planted. And I have my cute little sign, and I'll have links in the description box below to these signs that I have for labeling the areas of the garden. So next we have the arches and the hog fence arches. So we got these metal stakes, and my husband hammered them into the ground using this special tool that he borrowed from my dad's work. And we, based on my husband's work schedule, had to do a lot of this at night when he got home from work. So we pulled out the headlamps, and just really neat to see how this project came to life. And so we put up the two log fence arches and used these little metal things and this hooky thing that we got at Tractor Supply. And the people there were really, really helpful as we asked questions. So really recommend buying things from Tractor Supply. We were really impressed with their customer service and just help and advice that they gave. So this project turned out really, really cool. I'm so impressed by my husband and just his ability to get projects done and try new things. And I always wanted something arched in our house. And so now we do. We have two arched things out back, and I just have been loving the look that this has given to our backyard. So here's what it looks like in the daytime. So you can see our raised beds are now filled, the arches are up, and it is ready for plants. And I also had the first lavender blooms. This was really neat. The lavender is so beautiful, and it was super exciting to have the first blooms. I'm really glad that I went with this slightly larger size from the place where we got the lavender. And then we're also working on the back side of the house. My parents had given us a fuchsia, which is from my grandma Pat. And so we wanted to get the fuchsia planted as well as these two other plants from my parents. And so that ended up looking really nice as well. So just making little by little progress on all these different areas. So we also went to pick up our starts from our friend from church, Chris. She has a garden shop, and we picked up a bunch of starts from her, and she has been so helpful in just giving us advice and help on everything with our garden. So we were really excited to support her business. Also worked a little bit on the side of the house too, clearing weeds. It is May 11th, and we have blueberries forming all over, and it is so exciting. A few days later, we went to work on getting everything planted in the first bed. This bed has 2 zucchini, 1 pepper, and 2 cucumber. And again, we're just sort of trial and error, trying to figure out where to put things and what things will go well together or not. And I'm sure we'll make changes next year. Anyways, we put down chicken manure pellets and seaweed dust. These are 2 things that we got on Amazon that we saw were good for planting. And then we also got this tub planted with the legend tomato, and then a marigold and 2 basil. So basil and tomatoes are supposed to be really good to plant together because they help each other grow. And then marigolds are a sacrificial plant, so hopefully the bugs will eat the marigolds instead of the plants themselves. So that was kind of our game plan with planting those items together in the same spot. spot. So we also have these terracotta pots that we put the spearmint in. So you don't want to plant mint in the ground because it takes over and kind of dominates the area. So we wanted to make sure the spearmint was planted in a separate pot. And then we also have this strawberry pot that my mom got. And so you're supposed to put the pop in the dirt, and supposedly strawberries will grow. I wanted to work on using more of the labels to get everything labeled for what we planted. I got these on Amazon, and I will have them linked in the description box below. And you can reuse them each year by using alcohol to clean off the permanent marker. And I just think these are really cute and have a neat job of helping me remember what we planted and where. And they just cute. So I have my garden binder to the left there, and I'm referencing that for labeling all of our different things. So it's really great because you just put these right into the pot or the raised bed or the dirt, and definitely looks cuter than the little plastic one that they came with. So then I have the next one for the legend tomato that we have the basil and the marigold with as well. So then I am adding that one next, and so I'd highly recommend these cute little plant stands for plant labels for the garden. Those are really fun to have with their labels. So next I continued on the zucchini. We did golden zucchini and Astia zucchini. We have one pepper plant in the middle, and then we did Persian cucumber and summertop cucumbers. Today is Monday, May 13th, and we got a few things planted tonight. It's a little difficult with my husband's work schedule, so it's kind of sunset time. But really excited about these. So on this side we have 2 cucumbers, a pepper, and 2 zucchinis. We don't totally know what we're doing, but hopefully these will grow. And we sprinkled seaweed dust and chicken manure pellets when we planted them. And then here we'll have pumpkins. I'm envisioning sitting under it. And then we'll get to this bed a different night. And then this is the tomato area. So we'll have tomato, marigold, basil, and the tomato will climb. And this is a determinate tomato. So that's a bush tomato versus the ones we got for here are climbing tomatoes called indeterminate, and this one's called determinate. And this one is called the legend tomato, and it was actually a gentleman, Marlon, from church who passed away. He introduced Chris, the lady who I bought these from, another friend from church. He introduced this particular basil to Chris, and Marlon passed away a few months ago, and so I planted this in his memory. So we have 2 basil and a marigold in this. And so those are what we got planted, plus one other little spot. Over here we have spearmint. So excited to use this for tea. I definitely know you're not supposed to put any mint into the ground because it spreads and takes over. These might be too small pots for these, but we'll try them out. And then this was something my mom got. It was called like a fruit pop. So supposedly that thing is going to turn into a strawberry. It is Tuesday, May 14th, and we got some more things planted today. So in this bed we have some cilantro, which I did not realize were not cut and come back. That is a phrase that I just learned. So originally we were only going to get one, and Chris, our friend who we got him from, she was like, because I said, oh, we're gonna make pico de gallo, and she goes, once you clip them, they're done. So we got 2 more, but anyways, I don't know, they look kind of sad, but maybe this is what they're supposed to look like. I'm not totally sure, but we got those. We haven't planted it yet, but we want to do onion here. And then this is German chamomile to use for tea. And then I love sage, so I'm really excited about that. Now need to investigate if that's a cut and come back. And then on the cattle fencing, on this side we have a sweetie tomato, and then a basil and a marigold. And then these we planted yesterday. And then this side we have a marriage genuine tomato, which is a slicer tomato, and a basil and a marigold. So the only thing we have left to do is planting the pumpkins on that cattle fence, and then we have some zinnia starts inside that haven't been doing super great, but I think we'll put those in a pot over there potentially. So made some great progress. The next thing we had to plant were the pumpkins. So the pumpkins were, and are, Lord willing, going to go and grow onto the first arch in the garden. So Juan was prepping the ground, amending the soil. So we planted 10 seeds when I did the starts, and 4 of them grew. So, or 8 of them grew. So we did 4 on each side. So the goal was to have 4 growing up one side and 4 growing up the other. We were not sure if we were going to plant all 4 or all 8 of them, and I'm so glad we did, because now we're down to 5. So several of them died immediately after we planted them, within a day or 2. So I guess they just weren't quite as strong as they should have been. Really cool to have used seeds from last year, and just the sweet story that I shared at the beginning of this video. So really fun to be able to have these in our garden, and hopefully year after year we'll be able to continue growing pumpkins from that first set of seeds from 2023. We are going to try something we saw online, where you cut off part of the onion and you put this into the ground, and we're gonna see if we can grow some more onions from these from the store. So Juan cut off. We're gonna just try 4 and peeling off the paper, and then we'll stick it in the ground. We got 4 onion tops or bottoms planted in our second raised bed by the cilantro and German chamomile. So we got those planted, and hopefully they will grow into some wonderful onions. Kind of a neat experiment. And then we needed to get the zinnia seeds planted as well, and we ended up planting the ones that I did in the starts didn't really turn out. And I don't quite know why. Maybe they just don't like being started way. But we planted seeds as well, and those thankfully have grown. And so we're making some progress on growing zinnias. So hopefully those will turn into beautiful flowers. We also had some pests that started to come and eat our zucchini specifically. We weren't sure what they were. We thought maybe they were slugs. So we tried this trick where we took beer in a pie pan and tried to catch slugs that way. And then we also put eggshells down, because we heard slugs and bugs aren't supposed to like eggshells. But that was just kind of interesting pest control experiment. And I have my garden journal here, and this is what we use to sketch out our game plan before beginning. And then you can see how it turned out. Really neat to be able to have seen just the progress and growth and planning and dreaming in our garden. All right, here is the end of May garden update. So over in this corner, we have the spearmint, which is doing okay. We're excited to hopefully make mint ice cream with this summer. The zinnias and onions we planted last, but you can see a few new little guys popping up, so that'll be fun to see. Hopefully this will be full of zinnias. The strawberry hasn't done much, but I am still hopeful that something will happen there. Our blueberry bushes are living their very best life. This is the Duke one, and that one is called Legacy. And this one, I think we might be able to pick some of them soon. They're getting pretty big. So that's very exciting. The huckleberry back there, I don't think we'll be able to get anything from this year, but maybe we will. I don't know. It's just pretty little still. And my husband, it is not super strong yet, so we have the little stakes up. So that's that area. Here's the first garden bed, and it is struggling the most. So we have something eating it, and eating a lot of things in here. So here's our poor basil that is getting eaten to shreds. And then the cucumbers are doing okay so far. They just have some little nibbles. The pepper is doing really great, so that is exciting. So we have our pepper plant here. The zucchini are the worst. So you can just see it's just getting decimated by something. So if you have any thoughts or advice, please comment below. Because it's very sad. So we did try this trick where you put beer in pie pins and we recessed it into the dirt, and we did catch one slug so far. So I don't know if that's what's eating them. I should fill it up with more beer because it's evaporating, but I don't know, just kind of sad. I mean, this looks like slug goo. Someone else suggested gathering the leaves so they're not on the ground, so maybe I'll try that today. But anyways, I feel sad about our zucchinis. I'm getting discouraged because I keep telling my husband everyone else can grow so many zucchinis. I don't know why we struggle so much, because last year it wasn't our best plant. So then over here we planted 4 pumpkins on either side. 2 have already died, and then these 2 are okay. I had envisioned a pumpkin arch, but we will see. It's still early to know. So here's the other ones. So we've got 5 left. These ones seem to be doing pretty well. Then in this bed we have cilantro, which I was kind of worried when we first got them in. They were a little bit sad, but now they are doing really great, so that'll be fun to use. And then the onions we planted just a few days ago, so nothing happening yet there, but hopefully that'll work. And I don't think plants or bugs like onion, so maybe that'll be our more successful thing. But so far this bed seems to be doing all right pest-wise. This is the chamomile. Look at those pretty flowers. I'm so excited about this. So it's a German chamomile, and that's very encouraging. And then the sage is also doing well, and it smells so amazing, just like the cilantro. So that's great. Then over here we have a tomato, a marigold, and basil. So the basil just aren't doing super great, but the tomato's doing all right. You can see some little flowers there. So the vision is that the tomato will grow on this arch. And then in the middle here we have we did 3 different kinds of tomatoes. So this one's called the Legend, and we did 2 basil with a marigold in here. And again, just the basil is getting eaten by something, but it's okay. And then over here we have another tomato and basil and marigold. So this section seems to be doing well. And then here we have our little lavender. This was the smallest of the 4 that we bought. The 3 in front are doing so well. I'll have to end the video with that clip. But this one's, I don't think it'll flower this year, but it's doing okay. And then this is the hazelnut tree, 2 dogwoods. And then the flowers. Oh my goodness, this is the bumblebee buffet, and hopefully it will start flowering soon and have a lot of bumblebees. These are the forget-me-nots, and then this is the cosmos. So that's all really thriving. And then this is one that my mom picked up for me, and can you hear it? They're like crispy leaves. That's how they're supposed to be. And I got some green floral wire, and evidently you can take off the head of them and put it on the green floral wire, and it will stay like you could use it as a dried flower in your decorating. So I want to try doing that soon. So those flowers, the flower section is doing really awesome. The bird feeder, we decided the birds were too hungry. So we filled it up once and they went through it in less than a week. So we decided that we would kind of space out filling it. So just because it can get kind of expensive, but it's been neat to see different birds in our yard. And then over here we have the sunflower wall, and these are doing pretty well. They're getting bigger, which it's amazing to me how fast these grow. But they are also being eaten by something. So you can see the little holes there. So that's been rather discouraging, but I will need to fill this up with more beer. I'll probably wait to do that until tonight so the sun doesn't evaporate it all day. But anyways, I think this will be really pretty once the sunflowers are all up. They're supposed to get 8 to 10 feet. And then this area we just aren't doing anything in. Comment below, what would you put in this area? I want to get rid of the gate here. We're not going to do any animals. So I don't know, I feel like this could be a really neat area, but haven't totally figured out what it could be. But we need to work on keeping the weeds down. So that's our little backyard garden update. Really neat to see the progress in this past month. And now let's go to the front and I'll show you the lavender. The lavender in the front are doing so well, and they are so beautiful, and it's very, very exciting. I need to figure out kind of how to harvest them, I guess you could say, but it's just so cool to be able to grow lavender. Like, look how big that one is. That's amazing. And then what's also cool is the plant next to it is starting to flower. And this also has purple flowers too. So really pretty purple flowerscape in our front yard. So I hope this May garden vlog inspired you to get outside this month. I hope it inspired you to try to grow something, even if it's just an herb on your windowsill. Get outside, get your hands in some dirt, and see what God wants to teach you from being outside this season. I wanted to remind you of two things. The first thing is you can pick up a Hope Grows Here grid journal and create your own garden scrapbook, garden journal, and these are available on Amazon, and I'll have it linked in the description box below. You can also check out the setup video I have for how I put this together and what's in here so far. And I also have let's see if I can grab it, a garden printable in the Creative Faith Etsy shop, and I used it to decorate as well as set up my garden binder this year. So I wanted to encourage you to check out those resources, the printable, the Hope Grows Here notebook, and check out the gardening playlist for this year if you like this kind of content. I also made on the Creative Faith Amazon storefront a list of gardening supplies that we have been using and love, from the different fertilizers we've been utilizing to our weed picker to things like that. So you can go to amazon.com/shop/creativefaithco to check that out. So be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification so you don't miss out on any Creative Faith videos. I'm excited to see how the garden will transform in the month of June, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, friend!